Hello students, now we are moving on to bearing and distances. Bearing and distances. Let's look at this example. Two ships A and B leave a port P at the same time. A travels on a bearing of 159 degrees and B travels on a bearing of 215 degrees. After some time, A is 9 kilometers from P and the bearing of B from A is 256 degrees. Calculate the distance of B from P. So first of all, let's look at, we having two ships A and B leave a port. Assuming this is the port P, so you draw the 4 cardinal points at the ports. Two ships A and B leave a port P at the same time. A travels on a bearing of 159 degrees. 159 is in the second quadrant. So this is it. We having ruled a line in the second quadrant. So it means from this point to this point is 159. That's 159 degrees. So this is A traveling on a bearing of 159 degrees and B travels on a bearing of 215 degrees from the port. Two ships A and B, they leave this point at the same time. The first one travels on a bearing of 159. 159 is in the first quadrant. Then the second one travels on a bearing, that is, and B travels on a bearing of 215 degrees. 215 degrees is in the third quadrant. So if this happens to be the line of 215 degrees in the third quadrant, so that means from the north up to where this line is 215 degrees. 215 degrees. So and B travels on a bearing of 200 from the north up to where the line is 250 degrees. After some time, A is 9 kilometers from P. A is 9 kilometers. The distance between this point and A is 9 kilometers from P. So now, and the bearing of B from A is 256 degrees. So if this is B, so this is, let me say our B is here. The bearing of B from A is 256 degrees. 256 is in the third quadrant. If you draw the 4 cardinal points at A, so if this is the line of 256 from the north up to this place is 256 degrees. So now calculate the distance between the distance of B from P. You are told to look for the distance from this place to this place. Now let's just try to get the values of the angles inside this triangle. First of all, you realize that since from this place, from this north pole to this line is 159, and from this north pole to this line is 215. So to be able to know the value of this angle, it will be what? 256 from here to this place minus 159 from here to this place. So which will give us 56 degrees. So this angle will give us 56 degrees. If it gives us 56 degrees, so we need to know the value of this other angle. Now, since this line and this line are parallel, you realize that the angle here and this angle here will be equal. Now, how are we going to look for the angle here? You realize from this up here to where this line is 159, and this is the first quadrant, 90. So if you remove 90 from 159, you are going to get 69. So the angle here is 69. So that means the angle you are having in this place is 69. Now, since from the north up to this place is what? 256. 256. So now, and the north up to this 9 in the third quadrant here is 270. So if you say 256, 270 minus 256 will give you the remaining angle that is here from this line of 270. So 270 minus 256 will give you 14. So the value of the total angle here was 69 plus 14, which will give you 83. It will give you 83. So that means the angle here is 56. The angle here is 83. Then this is B. So now let us now try to draw the triangle again. When we draw the triangle again, so this you have in your P, this side will be your B, and this is A. So angle P is 56 degrees. From what we calculated here, you can see that it is 56 degrees. Then angle A is 83 degrees. Then you can now use the sum of angles in a triangle. You use the sum of angles. So if you add angle P plus angle A plus angle B should be equal to 180. Sum of angles in a triangle. Sum of angles in a triangle. So your angle P is 56 plus your angle A is 83 plus angle B is equal to 180. 56 plus 83 will give us 9. That is 139 plus B is equal to 180. So your angle B will now be 180 minus 139, which will give us 41 degrees. So that means the angle here will give you 41 degrees. So that means the angle B is 41 degrees. So when you redraw the triangle, you have P to be 56, A to be 83, this one to be 41. And you are only given the distance between P and A, which is 9 degrees, 9 kilometers rather. So this is 9 kilometers. So you can now use sine ratio to be able to get this. So you can say A, the side facing angle A is side A over sine A. Then the side facing angle B is what? Side B. So which is B over sine B is equal to, the third one is P over sine P. P over sine P. So now our A, we are not given our A, but we are given the angle to be 83. So over sine 83 equals, then B, that is our B is 9 over angle B is what? 41 is equal to our P, we don't know the value, over sine 56. So since what we are looking for is the distance, calculate the distance from B to P, so which is represented by A. So the distance from B to P is represented by A, and the one that is having A is A over sine 83, and 9 over sine 41 is complete. So you pair these two. When you pair them, you have A over sine 83 equals 9 over sine 41. So from here you are going to cross multiply. When you cross multiply, A times sine 41 is equal to 9 times sine 83. So to get A, divide both sides by sine 41. So 9 times 83 over sine 41. So what is the sine of 83? It gives you 0.9925. And the sine of 41 gives 0.6561. So 9 times 0.9925 gives 8.9325 divided by 0.6561. So when you divide it, you are getting 13.614540,466. So if you now do this to the nearest, to one decimal place, if you count 1, the next number is when it's not up to 5, so you cut it off. So that means you're having 13.6 kilometers. Now let's consider another example. A ship sails 20 kilometers from A on a bearing of 42 degrees to point B and moves further due east until it is on a bearing of 72 degrees from its starting point. A. Find the distance of the ship from its starting point. B. What is the bearing of A from C? C. What is the bearing of A from B? D. What is the bearing of C from B? Now, to solve this, a ship sails 20 kilometers from A to on a bearing of 42 degrees to point B. So assuming this is, so that is 42 degrees is in the first quadrant. So if you draw your 4 cardinal points, so if this is the 4 cardinal point, you are told that what? The bearing is 42 degrees. 42 degrees is in the first quadrant. Draw the line here. So from this point is 42 degrees. To where the line is 42 degrees. Now let's go back to the question. A ship sails 20 kilometers from A. So it means that this place is A. This point is A. This point is A. A ship sails 40 kilometers from A on a bearing of 42 degrees to point B. So this point is B. And then moves further due east until it is on a bearing of 72 degrees from the starting point. So that means when the ship got here, it moves further due east. So when you get here, draw your 4 cardinal points here again. When you hear due east, that means it moves on this line of the east like this. Due east. So now they said move further due east until it is on a bearing of 72 degrees from the starting point. This is the starting point. A is the starting point. So that means 72 degrees at A, assuming you're having another line like this. So it's now 72 degrees. From here to this place is what? 72 degrees. From here to this line is 72 degrees. From here to the first line is 42. From here to this one is 72 degrees. They said that it is on a bearing of 72 degrees from the starting point. So it's now on a bearing of 72 degrees from, let's say this last point is what? Is C. So a ship sails 20 kilometers from A. So 20 kilometers from A, it means that from here to this place is what? 20 kilometers. A ship sails 20 kilometers from A on a bearing of 42 degrees. So this is the first line of the ship. This is the bearing. This place is 42 degrees. And moves further 72 degrees east. So when it got here, it moved further due east. Due, that means on the line. When you hear due, it means on the line of the east till you get to another point C. And move further due east until it is on a bearing of 72 degrees from the starting point. So until when it moves here, if you now look at the bearing from this C to this place, it was 72 degrees. They now say that A, find the distance of the ship from the starting point. This is where the ship is now. This is starting point. You are told to look for this place. Now, before you can do that, we need to know the value of the angles. So you are told that from this point to this line is 72. And from this North Pole to this line is 42. So 72 minus 42 will give you the value of this angle, which will give us 30 degrees. So if this is 30 degrees, now you are told that since this line and this line are parallel, this line and this line are parallel, the angle here up to this line and this one will be the same. So this one is 42, this also 42. And you know that this is a quadrant, so this one will give us 90. 90 plus 42 will give us the value of the whole angle here. So 90 plus 42 will give us 132 degrees. So if that is 132 degrees, it will now be easier for you to know. So if you draw this triangle again, let's draw the triangle again. You are going to have this. So this is a point A, B, and C. So this angle will give us 132. This is 20 kilometers. This angle will give us 30. So the side facing angle A is side A. The side facing angle B is side B. And this one give us side C. So now the sine ratio says A over sine A equals B over sine B equals C over sine C. So your angle A is what? That is, for us to be able to get this third angle, you can use sum of angles in a triangle. So 30, angle A plus angle B plus angle C is equal to 180. Sum of angles in a triangle. So angle A is 30 plus B is 132 plus C we are looking for is equal to 180. So 162 30 plus 132 is 162. 162 plus C is equal to 180. So your C will now be 180 minus 162, which is equal to 18. So the value of the third angle here is 18 degrees. If this is 18, then you now substitute into the sine ratio. A, we are not given A over sine. A is for 30. Write 30. Then your B, we are not given B over sine. B is what? 132. Then C is 20 over sine 18. So we are told to look for find the distance of the ship from the starting point. So the distance of the ship from the starting point, this is the ship here, this is starting point. So you are told to look for the side B. So the ratio that is having B is this. Then you look for the one that is coming, 20 over sine 18. So you now pair these two. B over sine 132 equals 20 over sine 18. So when you cross multiply, you are having, so you realize that if you cross multiply, you are having B times sine 18 is equal to 20 times sine 132. So when you divide both sides by sine 18, it's going to give you 20 times sine 132 over sine 18. So to look for the value for sine 132, the value for sine 132 will give you 0.7431 over sine 18 will give you 0.3090. So when you compute 20 times 0.7431 divided by 0.3090, you get 48.09708738. So approximately to the nearest whole number, if after this 8 the next number is 0, it's not up to 5, so that means you cut the decimal of you having 48 kilometers. So we've been able to look for the distance of the ship from the starting point now to be 48 kilometers. Now the B part of the question says that what is the bearing of A from C? What is the bearing of A from C? Now you know that we've been able to get this angle to be 30. The whole of this angle is 132. Now you are told to look for the bearing of A from this C. So to get the bearing of A from C, it means that you are going to look from the north. When you draw your 4 cardinal points at C, from this north up to where this line is, will be the bearing of A from C. So we need to know the value of this particular angle. So if you look at it, this line from the north here up to where this line is 72. Then that means since this line and this line are parallel, this also should give you 72. So from the north up to where this line is 72. So this, since this line and this line are parallel, this also give you 72. So to get the bearing of A from C, so that means you measure from the north up to where this line is. That this one is 90 plus 90 plus 72. 90 plus 90 plus 72. 90 plus 90 is 180. 180 plus 72 will give you 252 degrees. So the bearing of A from C is 252 degrees. Then C. To solve C, what is the bearing of A from B? What is the bearing of A from B? The bearing of A from this place, from B. The bearing of A from B. So that means you measure from the north up to where this line is. And you know that we said that this angle here from this north up to this first angle is 42 degrees. So that means if that is 42, so that means since this line and this line are parallel, if this is 42, this also will give you 42. So from the north up to where this line is will be what? This one is 90, this is 90 plus this 42. So you have 90 plus 90 plus 42, which will give you 180 plus 42, so 222 degrees. So the bearing of A from B is 222 degrees. Then the last part says D. What is the bearing of C from B? The bearing of C from B. From B. So that means this is the line where you get C. So you measure it from the north pole to this line. You can see that this is 90 degrees. So the bearing of B, of C from B will not be 90. That, and in bearing you write in 3 figures. So it's going to be 090 degrees. 090 degrees. So now we are going to move to the work practice. For the work practice, A man walks due west for 4 kilometers. He then changes direction and walks on a bearing of 197 degrees until he is southwest of his starting point. How far is he then from his starting point? Number 2. A girl starts from a point A and walks 285 meters to B on a bearing of 78 degrees. She then walks due south to a point C, which is 307 meters from A. What is the bearing of A from C? And what is BC? Number 3. The bearing of a house from a point A is 319 degrees. From a point B, 317 meters due east of A, the bearing of the house is 288 degrees. How far is the house from A? How far is the house from A? Number 4. The bearing of ships A and B from a point P are 225 and 116 respectively. Ship A is 3.9 kilometers from ship B on a bearing of 258. Calculate the distance of ship A from B. Number 5. An aircraft is timetabled to travel from A to B. Due to bad weather, it flies from A to C, then from C to B, where AC and CB make angles 27 degrees and 66 degrees respectively with AB. If AC is 220 kilometers, calculate AB. Please ensure you like, subscribe, and comment on this video. Thank you.